from that. So, I suspect that there's a there is a grouping of things that happen that push Joe Rogan to the so-called right, and not all of them are the fact that he is quote unquote a right winger. Some of them have to do with the fact that he got alienated from the left in certain ways and recognized that there was no coming back from certain things that he had done, and on top of it, he got the Spotify deal, and he recognized that he has a strong base with the people who are not concerned about some of the stuff that he said and did. Matter of fact, applaud it and want more of it. And he had a firm base with the so-called right. So, and it wasn't hurting his ratings. His ratings were still strong, and he still had the biggest podcast in America, and it didn't go away. So he kind of fully leaned into his right wing uh, rantings, and his guest list was so far right it was insane. And I did some uh, looking up of the data of his guest list after he moved to Austin, and it was a complete opposite of anything he was doing in LA. His guest list was basically nothing but neutral or right wing guests. Every blue moon, he would have a quote unquote left winger on there, but other than that, it was ridiculous. I'll show some stats of that shortly. Um, but then he began to do stuff that was much more egregious, and now he basically just says the most idiotic things over and over again. And it's crazy to me, like, that I respected a guy who has just completely turned a back on who he used to be. He in 2015, 2016, he clearly knew who Donald Trump was. He refused to support him because of the things that he does and says and who he is. And he endorsed him in 2024. So how do you make a turn that's basically the opposite of your entire being from 2016 to 2024? So anyway, he praises the press secretaries for Donald Trump, who are just lying to you 100% of the time because they have to cover up for his lies. He praises uh, he he praises people like Elon Musk, who are of the South African, how shall I say this, European supremacist group, along with Peter Thiel and others, who have a disdain for the dark-skinned people and Americans of slave descent. He doesn't say anything about the constant destruction of the norms and rules and laws with respect to American democracy.
He makes it seem like the far left is out there doing these massive protests like, we need more women with beards in bathrooms or something. Like, what? You're in your own head, bro. You've taken like the comic book caricature of what a lefty is, and you run with it. You're running with like what Jesse Waters' idea of a far leftist is. He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about, and you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I'm in these left-wing spaces. People are like, hey, let's stop wars. Let's stop the genocide. Let's give everybody health care. It's kind of crazy that we live in the richest country in the world, but we don't have universal health care, and seemingly every other country was able to fucking figure that shit out. Oh my God.
Name of compassion. Like, this is fucking insane. That they have to figure that puzzle out. Because right now they lost to Trump, and they're in this scattered thing where they're trying to shit on everything he does, hide all the good stuff.
Hide all the good stuff. What good stuff, Joe? What fucking good stuff? Is the good stuff the fact that inflation is now skyrocketing? Is the good stuff the fact that the economy is now slowing down and we're entering a recession? Is that the good stuff? Is the dumb trade war with all of our allies, is that the good stuff? Is the rounding up innocent people and sending them to a concentration camp, is that the good stuff? Is the good stuff illegally bombing Iran? How about illegally bombing Yemen? How about illegally bombing Somalia? Is that the good stuff? What's the fucking good stuff? Illegally invading California using the Marines? Is that the good stuff? What good stuff? There's no fucking good stuff. Stop fucking gaslighting us. There is no good stuff. Oh my God. I'm still not done. See, he can't help himself. Here he goes. Again, shitting on the left.
The weirdest thing to me is that we're in this complete shifting of the polls where the Republicans now are in favor of free speech. The Republicans want to end the wars. They want to stop contributing to foreign countries. They want comedy to be comedy again.
Somebody's got to take his mic away from him, bro. I'm sorry. That's the point we're at. Somebody's got to take this dumbass's mic away from him. He has no idea what he's talking. Oh, the Republicans are the ones that are anti-war now. All the Republicans were cheerleading the bombing of Iran, the illegal and offensive bombing of Iran, a country that didn't attack us, and they weren't even building a nuke, despite the lies that the regime tells.
We are all humans, and the goal is for us to exist together and do what's the best for the most, in my opinion. Now, there's most of the people in the world really don't feel that way. They used to admit or believe or say that they believe that way, but then their actions over the last decade have completely been the opposite of that. So the problem I have is that, how is it? And I have family members and close people, friends that I love, still love, but I have disdain for I have a lot of respect for the men and women they might be, but I have a lot of disdain for the human beings that they are. And it's hard for me to reconcile those two things. And I'm still wrestling with that because I don't know what to do about it. My goal is to make this world a better place by helping people understand each other. And when I see that you have chosen to accept, like Nazi Germany didn't happen because one guy named Hitler just rode in on a horse and decided to take over. No, there had to be support for his activities because some people thought that even though he was doing inhuman things to certain groups of people, it was better for them, or they decided to stay silent or accept it tacitly because it was better for them. So it's hard for me to respect the humanity in people who are watching Nazi Germany happen before our eyes and don't say anything. So, and this is not political. This is a human statement. It's not a political statement. It has nothing to do with the right and the left, because the people who believe in the right and left, they don't even have any idea that they don't even exist. The right and left doesn't exist. Like I've asked people, what does it mean? You say you're conservative. What does that mean? They got no answer. They have no idea, because they know if they say what conservative used to mean 25 years ago, they can't say that they're that, because nothing in the people that they voted for has been that, right? So what is it? What does it mean to be conservative? So, or what does it mean to be liberal, right? It doesn't mean to go shout down professors at Evergreen College because they disagree with the fact that you think certain people should not have to come to school, right? So, this podcast is about telling you the truth. It's not about sugarcoating it. It's about telling you the truth and helping create solutions, which is what I don't see a lot of podcasts doing, right? They're bad mouthing the other side, and some of them point out facts, but they're still bad mouthing the other side, like the Midas Touch, right? I believe that they're a fact-based organization, but all they do is talk about the negatives about Trump supporters, basically, and Trump himself. So, and I'm okay with you telling the truth, right? But you can't just I mean, it's just propaganda when you're only pointing to the negatives of one group of people. And you're not pointing out that the Democratic Party is being paid off by the same people that are getting paid off by the Republican Party. You're not pointing out that the reason why the Democrats are so impotent in their defense of American democracy is because they have to abide by the rules of the people who pull the strings, like APOC and the CIA and big business who are paying them. There's a reason why all politicians go in with meager wealth profiles and come out multimillionaires. There's a reason for that, and that is why American democracy has never been what you thought it was. So, going forward, these episodes will be even more to the point. They'll tell you more truths about the lies that you have no idea about. They're going to go into who is actually pulling the strings, what we can do to change the entire dynamic of American democracy so that we actually get to experience it. Most people have no idea that we have literally never voted for our president since November 22nd, 1963. And I'm going to leave it right there. As I said, going forward, each episode will, at the end of it, have a list of people who are the architects of the Matrix, who are basically pulling the strings.
Who are you?
I am the architect. I created the Matrix.
The agents of the Matrix who want to keep you blind. And the rebellion, the people who actually are interested in telling you the truth and helping you to understand the dangerous times we are living in, the truly, truly, truly dangerous times we're living in. The only reason I'm doing this podcast is because I'm scared to death. I'm scared to death for my kids, my two children, and I'm scared to death for the future of this democratic republic. And I have been saying this for 10 years. And exactly what I thought was going to happen has happened. I never thought that we would allow the degradation of the norms, rules, and laws to get this far. But we are in very, very, very dire times, and no one seems to care. Now, I have done some preparing, and I hope you do the same, and we can talk about that in future episodes as well. Thank you. Please hit the like and subscribe button. So, in summary, folks, this is Joe Rogan AD. Joe Rogan after the death of his integrity. So, to summarize, it's an incredible transformation that I witnessed from 2012, let's say, to 2025. I can't believe what I'm watching. And he made a 180-degree shift in his humanity. Again, like I told you, I'm not political. I am apolitical. I am pro humanity, though, and that is what really has gotten to me the most with regards to his change is his lack of humanity and lack of acknowledging the absolute human rights destructions that are taking place under this regime. I mean, he began to just basically like in the after the death of his integrity, all he did every step of the way was point out problems on the left. Okay. Which of course there are. So, but when you don't point out any of the problems on the right and you celebrate the people who are causing the major human rights violations and law breaking and destruction of American democracy and insurrections and stuff, it's just incredible to me. So, I did my own research. As a matter of fact, yeah, just to see if his his demographics of his guest list changed as much as I thought they did, and it was unbelievable. Obviously, there's going to be a graphic in here that shows the overwhelmingly right and libertarian, which is nearly the same slant of his guest list. Was like 88% out of his guests were either right or libertarian, and the rest were either neutral or left. Okay, which is crazy, right? Before that, there was just no political. Like Joe Rogan, BC, was apolitical. So he went and signed another deal with Spotify. The BlackRock invested Spotify, and they don't care. They like it. They like what's going on because they haven't said a word. They haven't changed anything, and he is all the way right. And then he'll just like tacitly like make a statement, just dip his toes in the water of criticizing so-called right-wing stuff and Trump and all that, but it's not genuine at all. Otherwise, he would tell the truth about it. But he doesn't. He just dips his toe in the water just to see how far his base will rebel, but they never do because there's a lot of lack of integrity in this world as we sit. So then he just starts to say just stupid stuff all the time. Like he's not in my estimation what I would call a stupid guy, but now he says verifiably super stupid stuff that's just like insane. Like one day he was like he's not anti-woke. Let me pull that up for you. All right. Add the scene. There we go. Okay.
But first, let's hear what he has to say, and then I want to explain to you why I think he's so freaking confused.
Another article the other day about us being an anti-woke comedy scene. Like, look, why not just do great stuff? Go do great stuff. Don't worry about what we're doing. And we're not anti-woke.
It's my friend, my brother in Christ. If you're not anti-woke, nobody is. There's nobody more anti-woke on the planet, certainly in the entertainment industry, than you. You're the guy. It has been the most animating issue of your life the last 5 years. I wouldn't know how to understand you or your place in American society if it wasn't for you being a crusader against what people consider to be woke.
There's no anti-woke. There's like a ton of left-wing comics at the mothership.
I looked on the Comedy Mothership website. That's not necessarily incorrect. A ton might be a bit of a strong word, but it's not exclusively for the anti-woke comedians, although the anti-woke comedians appear to have benefited enormously, not merely from the Comedy Mothership, but from the halo of protection that Joe Rogan put around it. But that doesn't mean that that's the only thing performing at the Comedy Mothership. That's true, but of course, that's not really the point. The point is that the people who were anti-woke the most were in many ways part of the Rogan orbit, including but not limited to, and specifically, Kill Tony.
It's like that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah,
we're not.
That's exactly what you're talking about, and been talking about it for an extraordinarily long time. Once again, not a little bit. It has been your number one animating issue, to the point that it is very difficult to even understand what place you hold in the entertainment or podcasting industry without it.
I'm gonna speed it up a
The
little bit.
entire
All right, so it looks like Joe Rogan is acting like Joe Rogan again, because he seems to be in denial about the fact that he and his army of so-called healthy fellas are, in reality, just anti-woke comics. That's their entire identity now. So for Rogan to sit there and pretend like he isn't anti-woke might be the funniest thing he's ever said. It's almost like he forgot that there are literally thousands of hours of him ranting about this exact thing online. Like his whole migration to Austin was built around the idea that there was this massive crowd of people desperate for comics to stand up to the woke mob, which of course he knew he could turn into a gold mine. And luckily for us, he documented that entire thought process on his podcast. So when Rogan plays dumb now, acting like he isn't...
It's like, look at his buddies. You endorsed Donald Trump. You've had and platformed Jordan Peterson. You've got Elon Musk, who you've also told the world is a genius. We'll talk about Musk in just a second.
Right.
It's like everything about you, as we understand it in 2025, is a function of being anti-woke. There's very little that has any relationship not to that.
All right. I'm going to pause it, and then I'm going to go to another video that even better illustrates it. And then get here.
The important point in a moment. In 2024, in Sage Journals, academics talked exactly about how Joe Rogan is not just anti-woke, but that everyone sees him that way. Quote, during the Trump presidency, while it was based primarily on YouTube, the Joe Rogan Experience was often criticized for hosting a range of controversial figures associated with the alt-right, or the so-called intellectual dark web, becoming a reference for those dismissing woke culture and social justice warriors from the right. After his podcast was acquired exclusively by Spotify, Rogan received further criticism for defending the use of ivermectin as an alternative cure for COVID-19. They continue. Rogan and his entourage of edgy podcasting comedians, who he frames as, quote, the last line of defense against wokeism, see themselves as playing a key infrastructural.
So he said the term himself, bro. Like, come on now. So, yeah.
Role. They continue again. With time, Rogan's engagement with overtly anti-feminist figures in a time of highly gendered social and political polarization has made the show a point of reference for those preoccupied with the emergence of so-called, quote, woke culture and social justice warriors, usually framed by JRE as unreasonable. Significant.
You get the point. So, yeah, I mean, he'll say some stuff like, I'm not anti-woke. Like somebody will believe him or something. I don't know. But it's stupidity. And it's not what I used to see with regards to my friend Joe Rogan. He refused to endorse Trump. But obviously that's changed dramatically. And then he said the reason he decided to vote for Trump was because Tim Walz embellished the time frame of his military service, right? So, I mean, obviously he called it lying, which, so if him lying about his military service is the reason, and it's stupidity. If Tim Walz lying about his military service, he did serve, right? There's another guy that you supported who faked bone spurs and literally is incapable of telling the truth. Like he doesn't just lie all the time. He's incapable of telling the truth. But the fact that it's beyond ironic that you would say that a guy's one lie is the reason why you chose to move to endorse Donald Trump. It's just like it's just an indication of the stupid stuff he says all the time now. He doesn't comment about the inhumanity of people in masks just taking people off the streets illegally, and all of the stuff that he's doing is illegal. These wars, he's literally killing fishermen like out of nowhere. Like these people aren't drug dealers in Venezuela; they're fishermen. He's just killing people. Like it's called murder. He is an absolute war criminal. He has been. And if you're a right winger or a conservative, that I don't know what that means anymore. Nobody knows what it means anymore. But if you believe in democracy, well, he's the guy that pardoned all of the rioters who decided to try and overthrow the government, right? Like, I mean, I just I can't get it through my head how you can justify stupidity by saying things like, "Oh, it's because Tim Waltz changed the time frame at when he served, therefore he had a different rank," right? He lied. Okay, yeah. So, it's just I can't even put it into words. So you watch Nazi Germany form before your eyes, but you got no words for it. You got the Gestapo in masks, snatching women and babies and macing old people and assaulting, like, indiscriminately. I mean, think about how much abuse of the law we're seeing. We don't get to see, right? Because, people have cameras, but the cameras aren't everywhere. Because these guys get to wear masks, right? They're upset. There are people who he wants to be there. He's advertising. I mean, he's got funding up the wazoo for this illegal police force. But Joe Rogan has no words for any of it. He's watching Nazi Germany. I mean, he watched Nazi Germany basically come here. It's basically here. When the head of the state, the head of the country decides that he doesn't like you because of you said something about him, as in the Columbia student, and he can just basically have his masked Gestapo pick you up, then Nazi Germany's here. So he has nothing to say about that, which is just, again, absurd. Like, the guy obviously was hanging out with Epstein. He was his best buddy for a decade. He's got nothing to say about him covering it up, right? And it's like people talk about a conspiracy. Well, I mean, there's conspiracy theories and there's conspiracy facts. And every day of the administration, we see the fact of them covering stuff up, the conspiracy of them covering stuff up, covering up jailhouse tapes, not letting the Epstein stuff come out, halting votes so that stuff doesn't get seen to the light of day. He does the bidding of everything Israel wants to do. Why? Because they have the goods on him. Everything that Epstein filmed, the Mossad knows. So anyway, my point is that it's just crazy. So, I mean, where the hell, Joe Rogan, please come back, man. I mean, damn, go Joe Rogan BC. I want Joe Rogan BC back. Can Joe Rogan BC please come back? Anyway, that is it for this episode. So hope you liked it. Please hit the button.
Push the goddamn button. Push the goddamn button. You heard what she said.
If you did, next episode we'll be discussing race. It's going to be a good one, so do not miss it. Have a fantastic rest of your week.